Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are doing our refight of the top level Ice Golem. We've changed our party a little bit, not a whole lot. I did want to keep in a chalk just because I actually don't get a lot of chances to use a chalk. So I'm hoping here that this will be my means of being able to use him. We do have HP burns this time, which should help out significantly with the party. It actually looks like a chalk also does give a turn meter boost when an enemy under an HP burn does take damage. Here between Ninja and a chalk, we have a lot of turn meter, or a lot of freeze control. So we're basically just going to be stopping our opponents from ever attacking or doing anything as frequently as possible. Here we're going to wait for Versolf. To attack with, because we want everything frozen or stunned before Versolf does that attack, because it can strike twice on any opponent under a hard CC. So we really want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that. Typically, I wouldn't want to use both freeze attacks back to back like that. However, we're just trying to lock down our opponent as frequently as possible, give them as few turns, which also helps my team's animations, or the speed of the fight. There we go. We got everybody underneath of an HP burn. I think that if you're going for a freeze and HP burn composition, I think that poisons would also be a great way to go, where you're just trying to out-survive your opponent. So shields, healing, maybe resurrecting if you can, and then things like both HP burn and poison. HP burn is better for waves of enemies, so in the Doom Tower or in the stages 20 plus, like to 25, in the dungeons, is a bit better to rely on things like HP burn. Before then, it doesn't feel as impactful. It does get better the further up into the game you go, because these waves just have so much HP, so much defense. And then here, things like these defensive ups that all of these characters are getting from these Seekers, this will also help out greatly with things like them. That HP burns and poisons will get around those damages, or those defensive boons. Alright, here we're just going to turn it on auto. This is taking quite long, just like it did the first time around. I wasn't too happy with how that went. But here we're getting a lot of turn meter burns off on this champion, and the reason I chose him is that as an attack champion, I know that his defensive profile is actually quite low, so I'm hoping that by focusing him down, things were going to be a little bit faster than not. Dracomorph would be the other really big thing that I fear, and again, I think that HP-wise, it doesn't have a great defensive value. Something that's not great about the party that I have constructed is I have no defensive down or weaken. I've kind of gone much heavier on the defensive side of things just because Ice Golem is such a brat to me. The other big thing is, as much as I'm appreciating how much CC Achak is bringing to these fights, I am not in love with him personally. I think that he needs a specific team comp kind of around him as a support. I would like something that has more poisons or HP burns in their kit. So maybe by bringing like Farrakhan the Fat, who has poisons and HP burn. Again, he's the wrong affinity, unfortunately. And that seems to be a lot of my account's problem at the moment, is that I just have not the best champions of affinity for some of these fights. So there you can see he does his single target attack to place on the block heal. But because we have a block debuff, we don't really get to care about that. We don't have to worry about it in the slightest. And now we have the joys of slowly whittling away the guard. There we can see, though, my ninja is actually not built properly enough to withstand the damage from here, which might become a problem. I do want to see how he fares as long as the fight goes on. In all honesty, as long as Syl and Blind Seer are alive, I don't think this boss could kill the two of them, especially with their kits. Syl of the Drakes is constantly going to just be re-healing up Blind Seer. Blind Seer's putting on this massive HP shield onto everybody. So as long as the two of them don't get the anti-heal from the minions, I don't really have a lot to worry about. But yeah, Ice Golem 25, as we can see, is just a long and grueling battle. And here is where, you know, we reduced his HP in essence too quickly. And it ended up causing our Reverse Sulf to die, who's supposed to be our HP tank. But because he does have on, since he can put on a defensive up and a ally protect, he ends up taking a lot of damage even from this magic boss. Or this would be the fear of playing with things like magic champions like Syl of the Drakes or Ninja that don't get those affinity bonuses, right? Like less damage or weak hits from the boss. But I will say, I do like the fact that over here, Achak, who's only level 58, he's absolutely rocking it. He's having no problem surviving this. He's constantly controlling these minions, which I was not expecting him to be able to freeze them as frequently as he is. That means my Achak is built very well. And he's consistently putting on the block debuff and strengthen, which is causing my team to take a lot less damage. Ninja here actually seems to be the biggest problem if I was to give this team analysis. So maybe a champion like Drexthar Blood Twin, who I'm about to get, who can put on AoE HP burns, who can be more defensive. I'm definitely feeling Ice Golem is more of a survive as long as you can. And this is also where Syl of the Drakes maybe is not healing my team as much as I need her to be. It might just be that she's not getting enough turns. If I was doing this on auto, Syl of the Drakes would be trying to keep a slow on Kylus as much as possible. But as we can see, that wasn't too rough. That wasn't too bad. This is a 5-star weapon, and at the moment on my account, my rule for 5-star weapons is I have to have perfect substats on here, and flat HP is just not a perfect substat. So fortunately, that's gear that goes away. But guys, there was my revenge. That was the immediate battle after I recorded the main video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And until that next time, ta-ta.